Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everyone in between and adjacent, welcome to the Rush Rundown, what I believe is the first and only 10-minute testing ripoff for Rush Duels. Today on the Rush Rundown, we're taking a look at a deck that is kind of an enigma. Strange. When I first saw this deck, I thought it was just a pile of whatever. But as I looked into it more, it turns out the deck was legitimate. And after trying it, it was fun, and then it's also free to play. So today, please allow me to present to you the strangest deck I've ever seen, Megami Insects.
Get this disgusting bug away from me!
This is the part of the video where I tell you to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below. So before we start the card by card, I just want to say thank you to the comments recommending this deck. If there's a deck you would like to see me feature on the series, go ahead and leave it in the comments below. Now, this deck is very strange. It's not something you would expect to even really function, or think of for that matter. But it's actually kind of fun and interesting once you get to learn it. Now, I would like to start at our skill, but our skill doesn't really... It's not the main point of our deck, which is shocking for a Duel Links deck, that the skill isn't the main idea. No. Let's start by talking about what this deck is. So, when Yuo first came to Duel Links, he came along with not the Metarion monsters. He came along with these two cards, Gyakuten no Megami and Dai Gyakuten no Megami. These old DM era card in Gyakuten no and her Rush Retrain in Dai Gyakuten no. These very strange cards that didn't really do much. Fast forward, and then Metarion came out, and these cards were pretty much forgotten. But now we have these insect cards. The whole assortment of insect cards that got added to Rush. And people ended up finding a secret synergy. Now, the retrain of Gyakuten no Megami, Dai Gyakuten no Megami, has the effect that says, draw one card and send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. If a monster was sent to the graveyard by this effect, you can also destroy two face-up monsters in your opponent's field with the same type as that monster. Now this is where the synergy comes from. Dai Gyakuten no Megami can pop monsters on the opponent's field that are the same type as a card you mill. You might be saying, well, how exactly do we do that? In the original Gyakuten no Megami deck, that wasn't a deck. We didn't do that. It didn't work. It didn't function. It just didn't work like that. The new insect cards, a bunch of them, change the type of the opponent's monster to an insect. So we play a small package of the Megami cards, the skill that can search the most important card, and then a whole pile of insects to almost guarantee when we mill for Dai Gyakuten no Megami, we're milling an insect. Now the opponent will have two insects on their board for us to destroy, because very importantly, Dai Gyakuten no Megami needs two insects on board. She has to pop two monsters, or else she cannot pop anything. Now, with the point of the deck out of the way, let's go ahead and start the card by card with our skill. Our skill is Gyakuten no Force. Can be activated during a turn you normal summon a light attribute fairy type monster with 2000 defense. Make one face-up monster in your opponent's field lose 500 attack defense until the end of this turn. Then, if you have Gyakuten no Megami face up on your field, you can shuffle one card from your hand to the deck once per duel. If you do, add one Dai Gyakuten no Megami from your deck to your hand. Now, this is another synergy that the deck has, where the insect guys also modulate stats for the opponent's cards. So, combining that with Gyakuten no Force, we can do a lot of aggressive pushes over some monsters by just lowering their stats. First, Ancient Gear Golem. You might notice the skill Gyakuten no Force does not in fact lock us to a specific attribute type or stat. So for our legend, we can just play the best legend card in the game, Ancient Gear Golem. We're on 2, Dai Gyakuten no Megami. You might think that we should probably max out on this since this is our entire game plan, but 3 is incredibly bricky because we're playing 3 of the normal Gyakuten no Megami and then 2 of this in Ancient Gear Golem. It's just, the math wasn't mathing, and we bricked very frequently in test onto our insect. You're playing 3, Swapling Silkworm Fibron. If you have a face-up insect type monster in your field, other than this card, send the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard. One face-up monster in your opponent's field becomes insect type this turn. Very simple. It's just one of the consistency cards to force our opponent's monsters into being insects. We're on 3, Biomech Mantis. Shuffle one insect type monster from your graveyard into the deck. One face-up monster in your opponent's field. This is 300 deck on the end of this turn. Then you can make that monster become insect type until the end of this turn. This is our other main playmaker for turning the opponent's monsters into insects. As well, like I said, with the attack defense modulation, this is our big play for that. We are on 3. Dramoth Caterpillar. This is one of those cards where you just discard archetypal card, draw a card. He's nice to have the graveyard set up for something like Avarice, Seal Array, or one of our other guys that require insects engraved. And that's where our effect monsters end, by the way. Because from there, we are on 3, Gyakuten and Megami. We do want to max on this to have Gyakuten of Force online, as well as having cards in the grave for the Die Gyakuten Megami effect. We're on 1 Antsgiving. I would play more Antsgiving if I could, but unfortunately, I am one of the unlucky gamers who only got the one free one and did not in fact get an extra Antsgiving from the packs. We are on 3 Atlas Combat Beetle. Hey, we got a 1500 attacker. That's pretty good. And then our last 3 cards could be any normal insects that do not require tributes in the game. So I chose the Oppressed Ant, United Ants, and the Ants Running About because they are funny. There are better cards you can play in the slot that have higher attack stats. I believe they have another 1500 attack point monster you can play in insects, but I think these 3 are funny, so I'm just playing them. Now, onto our spells and traps. We have 3 Intruding Beetles. Now, this is our archetypal MST. However, it's a little bit better. This card can be activated, even if the opponent has no spell traps. If 2 or more face-up insect type monsters on the field, notably, does not have to be your insect type monsters, send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard. Draw 1 card, then you can destroy 1 spell or trap card on your opponent's field. So at the very least, if you're trying to make an aggressive push and the opponent doesn't have any spell traps, this can just draw you a new card. For our legend card, we are on Pot of Avarice. We are also playing Talismanic Seal Array. I was talking about how modulating attack defense is very important in this deck, just because you need to be able to swing over guys sometimes, and that's another, like, one of the synergies we have. So we are playing Talismanic Seal Array. Meanwhile, a lot of other decks are cutting this, but we are playing it because it is really good in our deck. We are on 1 Insect Rampage. His card is insane. If it was not limited 1, I would say max the hell out of it. But unfortunately, it is at 1. Shuffle 2 monsters, not insect monsters. Shuffle any 2 monsters from your graveyard into the deck. All face-up insect-type monsters on your field gain 300 attack until the end of this turn. If your opponent has a face-up insect-type monster on their field, you can also destroy 1 face-up level 8 or lower monster on their field. This is a really cool card. So, there's a video already up on my channel of me getting OTK'd by a variant of this deck, and this was the main cause of that. This card is insane. It's like if Tribute was just free. Anyway, we are on Negate Attack for our Legend Trap and our Court-Ordered Buffered Slime. And then our extra is nothing. These cards do not matter. Just don't want the opponent to know we are not playing an extra deck when they do their first turn. Now, with that said, why don't we go ahead and check out what this deck can do in action? Alright, here we are, game number 1, and I have a very unfortunate thing to announce. Well, the problem with filming these videos around the time of a rank reset means you run into people either starting their grind for King of Games or rushing to get it done. So, all 3 games I have prepared for you today are in fact against Cyber Dragon. But, like usual, I only show you the W's. So let's watch them crumble to the insects. Alright, we're going first, and we have an amazing hand. 3 monsters to set in 2 back row, and one of those back row is a trap that will keep us alive. We just go ahead and set everything pass over to the opponent. Of course, they lead with a special summon of Cyber Dragon, activate the skill, go ahead and add fusion, and then, oh boy, turn 1 Cyber Twin Dragon. Just exactly what I want. Now, what we really want them to do is to hit over, not our first insect here, because we want, an actual utility card to stay on the field, but they go ahead and swing into our Antsgiving and then hit our effect monster. So now we are stuck with its 1500 meter and a dream. You see, we opened 2 more Biomech Mantis and Ancient Gear Golem. This is another point of the deck, is we just kind of end up being in this kind of like aggressive control strategy where we're not controlling the game with card effects, we're just summoning a really big monster, and when they put something on board to contest our big monster, we just go, okay, we're gonna make your guy smaller so our big monster just swings back over you. So we just go ahead and lower their Cyber Twin Dragon's attack down and then tribute summon the Ancient Gear Golem. Now we also have our two 1500 Atlas Combat Beetles, and we're just kind of big chilling. We now have Negate Attack and Buffered Slime set, so we are like ultra fine to pretty much anything they do, unless they find the MST. Now you see they went ahead and got Cyber Search and Cyber Dragon out, and then they did also find last card MST. But we have Negate Attack, so we stop them there, meaning we do not lose any of our monsters. Of course, our two Atlas Beetles cannot do anything about the Cyber Dragon. We do need Gear Golem to go over the Cyber Search, but we end up drawing Gyakutenu Megami and die Gyakutenu Megami, so we're going ahead and summon them both. Go ahead and use our skill, so now we can clear the opponent's entire board. We swing with the Ancient Gear Golem first to play around Negate Attack, and then Megami walks right into the Negate Attack that we kind of telegraphed. Passes up, and now we just have even more big B6 on board, and of course, they find the Cyber Assault Dragon, so our Gear Golem is now gone, and we are left with just our Megamis. They're going to go ahead and add Proto Cyber Dragon off the skill, pumping their Cyber Assault to 2900, summoning Crafter Drone, pitching, draw a card, and I guess they drew nothing because they're just going to swing in there. The only thing that goes down is our Die Gyakutenu Megami, and I think that means we just kind of win. Caterpillar, pitch, draw, Caterpillar, pitch, draw. We do not have a great hand, but Seal Array is probably enough to clean up this game. Go ahead and Seal Array, put down the Cyber Assault, swing over, and oh no, that's not enough. Oh wait, this guy's got 1000 deck, so we crash in and swing with the Caterpillar for game. It's not really the expected outcome of a duel like that, but hey, a win's a win, we'll take it. Alright, here we are, game number 2, and like I said at the top, we are facing off against Cyber Dragon once again. We are also going first once again. Pretty bad hand this time, only having monsters, so we have to set 3 cards and keep 2 cards in hand. We do pretty much just set our most useless cards. The opponent sets almost their entire hand right back at us, and we are very thankful for that. Anyway, we go ahead and draw again, switch our Caterpillars to attack, pitch, draw 2 cards. We are pretty much just begging to find an Ancient Gear Golem once again to actually contest anything. But we do find Intruding Beetles, so we're able to pop this Musical Princess Recital. Tribute Summon for both our Die Gyakutenu Megamis, and we're just going to swing into whatever the opponent has. Now this is where I realized, oh my god, it's another dang old Cyber Dragon game, and I got very mad. Now, when I see a board like mine, and I automatically assume I'm pretty much going to lose the Cyber Dragon, they go ahead and special Cyber Dragon, because of course they found Cyber Dragon. MST our back row, so we lose our Seal Array, which is very, very, very bad. Skill, add Proto Cyber Dragon, and then pitch it for Tribute to the Doomed to pop one of the Megamis and swing over the other, setting the last 2 cards in hand. Those gotta be some of the best dang cards in the world if it wasn't worth keeping the Proto for a Cyber Twin Dragon. You can see we open pretty decent for this next hand. We're just gonna go ahead and turn that Cyber Dragon into an insect, use Insect Rampage, pop it, and just kind of hope that their back row isn't anything. Swing in for 18, and there's no response. Swing in for 4, there's no response. Swing in for 15. The opponent had nothing. They saved those cards in hand for absolutely no reason. If they had kept the Proto Cyber Dragon, they would have lived a turn. But hey, their misplay is our gain, and another win for the insects. Here we are, game number 3, and you know what that means, a 1v1 versus Cyber Dragon. Yeah, I said the last 2 games were Cyber Dragon, so of course the 3rd game is Cyber Dragon as well. We are going second, and you can see our hand kind of blows. We have 2 Atlas Beetles and 2 Megami, our kind of beaters that we'd like to see. And the opponent makes a very baffling play to Tribute Summon Cyber Assault Dragon turn 1, and then also leave their Wolf in attack position. Well, let's just go ahead and try and do something about that. So we're going to go ahead and use our skill, put that guy down, get the Die Gyakutenu Megami, set a card. We were trying to make Avarice go online, but as you can see, we kind of whiffed, losing an Intruding Beetles in the process, so we pretty much got punished for that. Aha. Very rough looking board. We just gotta hope for the opponent to not play very well to survive. They're gonna go ahead and Tribute Summon the Cyber Dragon. Thankfully, leaving the Abbot and Wolf base up on their field means they have to Tribute Summon the Cyber Dragon, so they at least lose 1 material. They add Proto Cyber Dragon with their skill, summon Assault Cannon, and then Tribute Summon another Cyber Assault Dragon. I was really confused by what this guy was doing, and I was also very upset, thinking that he could play just like a complete animal and still beat me, probably. Anyway, draw again, and finally we see a good card, Ancient Gear Golem. So we're going to head and Caterpillar, pitch, draw a card. Now we have these two little guys and say, hey, if only we could Megami this guy. We're going to go ahead and use both of them and say, alright, Avarice, if you draw us Megami, we can do the thing. We could finally do the combo. And we didn't see it. We did not see Megami, and we're just going to say, whatever, screw it. Ancient Gear Golem, let's go. Not even bothering to try and Caterpillar again. Let's just move on with our lives. Anyway, Talismanic Seal Ray, put the Cyber Assault down, swing over with Gear Golem, and then swing over the Assault Cannon with Combat Beetle. And then we leave the Cyber Dragon face on their field once again. Obviously, it leaves their skill line, which they're using now, but also means they can't just special a Cyber Dragon for free. So they add Fusion on the skill now, and they tribute 2 to summon their own Ancient Gear Golem. At this point, I think, oh no, the opponent's going to crash into us. Also, they start here, which is a strange include Cyber Dragon. Yeah, it gets you, like, your fusion back, but I wouldn't really do this if I was the gamer here. Anyway, so they swing over our Caterpillar with their Avat Wolf. We take 5 there, and then we take 15, because instead of crashing the Gear Golems, they go ahead and swing over it. They swing over one of our other monsters, so we just go, oh, okay, I guess I win now. Anyway, go ahead and use Biomech Mantis, Intruding Beetle, draw cards. Summon the Atlas Combat Beetle, Tribute Summon Yakuten and Megami, put it down even further, swing over the Ancient Gear Golem, swing over the Advent Wolf, and swing over the Crafter Drone. We're putting the opponent just super low, and they're just, like, completely wasting all their resources. You can see from the grave here. They've gone through, like, everything. They go ahead and find Advent Wolf. Of course, they find Cyber Entry. Cyber Entry brings back Cyber Dragon. The skill pumps it back up to 600. The second Cyber Entry summons out Proto, which they then tribute for a Cyber Search. Again, strange plays coming from this opponent. Alright, so they go ahead and clear our small monsters, leaving Gear Golem up once again. We draw for turn, and my eyes lit the frick up. Oh my god, is it finally time? Biomech Mantis. Search, you're an insect. Silkworm, Cyber Dragon, you're an insect. Tribute Summon, Megami, Megami Effect, Mill, we milled an insect. Pop 2, here we go. Summon the Oppressed Ant. Megami swings in, clears the Advent Wolf. Oppressed Ant punches the opponent in the face, showing them the power of the people, and then Ancient Gear Golem finishes them off. Oh my god, finally we got to pull off the combo. Finally, we can stop. So we're back with the deck. Now I'd like to do a coherent pros and cons for this deck, but it's kind of hard to do. I could just launch a stream of consciousness at you about what I felt playing this deck. Let me just say this. The main combo idea of Megami popping 2 insects on the opponent's side of the field is incredibly hard to pull off. That one game I just showed you is the only game where I actually managed to pull off the combo. Frequently, I would run to moments where I would get the opponent to have 2 insects on board. I would get a board presence of anything, so I'd be able to swing in, but I would be missing the Daikakuten Megami. Whether it's from the regular Megamis being milled by something like Silkworm, or maybe the Daikakuten Megamis being milled themselves, because our skill, for some reason, can only add from deck once per duel. So if we're in a big grind game and we're finally about to pull it off, we might have lost all our Daikakuten Megamis, or we already used the skill because we were coming from behind and needed a 2400 beat stick to help us get into it, and then we just don't have it. So that combo is really hard to pull off. But where the deck shines is controlling the game through battle. Now, a lot of decks in Rush do this, controlling the game through just like big guys swinging. But what's different about this deck is it's one of those decks that control battle through modulating stats. Similar to Psychics, this deck prides itself on having all these cards like Biomech Mantis, like Insect Rampage, like the skill to modulate the opponent's stats. And then go ahead and swing over their guys despite the size of ours. This is a fun and interesting way to play. This deck is kind of bricky, kind of sacky, but when I won a duel with this deck. It was one of the most satisfying things in the world. You would have thought I just won like a YCS or something, because when I finally pulled off the combo and had Megami pop 2 of the opponent's monsters, I was ready to just rip my shirt off and like just popping bottles, spraying water all over the place, dumping it on my head, all the crazy stuff, because it felt so satisfying to actually pull it off. And just winning with this deck too is also a really fun experience. I would genuinely say, if you're watching this video and you made it to this point and got past all my kind of incoherent rambling, you should try this deck. Big thumbs up to this crazy pile just being free. It's just free. It's free to try, free to play, so why not try? Let's cut the rambling here and end this video. If you like this video, go ahead and leave a like. If there's a deck you would like to see me feature on this series, leave it in the comments below. As well, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a Rush rundown, again to Rush, or one of my stream highlights. With all that said, thank you for watching. Goodbye.